What's good, YouTube? Was the world flooded twice? Part two. I go by the name Pushy Push. Down below is my TikTok, so definitely go over there and check out some of those videos. Also, drop a like and subscribe right here to my YouTube. It definitely helps me with the algorithm, so I would appreciate that. But let's get into the video. I once heard someone say a long time ago, the world, you know, they destroyed the world once and they'll do it again. That was a statement I heard a long time ago. It rather went like, we destroyed the world once and we'll do it again. I think I heard it in some type of manner like that. And I didn't understand that when I heard that. But as I studied and, you learn more, those words, have came back. So it kind of fits with this video right here. So what I'm showing is what I believe to be a premeditated destruction. Um, is written to us as if it was biblical, but I want to kind of look at that a little bit right there. So we'll start with this coin. If you can look at this right here, let me change the screen. It's very interesting. What you have is a aerial view when you're looking at this coin. So there's ships all in the back, and there's a fireball. It could be a bomb or it could be a meteor. And over to the right side, there is a star fort city. So that's a city to the right, and you have boats all along the left side. And then there's a fireball right there. And you got to realize the angle of the coin. So you're getting an aerial view of this right here. So let's look at this other coin. See this big explosion? Boom. These are the ships that were in the back. And this is the Starfort City. And the coin is showing you a big explosion that came from the fireball right there that was we saw earlier. And if we go one more over, this coin, if you look to the far right, you can see a plume of smoke. So this is three coins. This coin is showing you the aftermath, and it's the same boat right here. So let's go back and look at it from the top. You have these boats right here in the back end. You have this fireball right here, and then you have the city, the Starfort City. And the coin is showing you this fireball hitting the Starfort City. And this is what it looks like from the boat's point of view. And then we go to the other coin, and it shows you a little bit of the aftermath because you can see a plume of smoke in the back. This right here is all, well, like it's dated 1824. It doesn't have to be that date. It could be commemorating an event, definitely. But I believe that this type of destruction is what caused our last, paradigm to fall, which we would call the mud flood. I believe the coin is showing what caused that type of event where water and destruction would literally be able to cover massively big, tall buildings. So we'll look at this other picture, and this is an example right here of a city on the roof of a building. And I'm saying during our last, paradigm before we were resetted, you know, we were living in buildings that was below right here where the mud is at. And you're trying to figure out, well, where does all that mud come from? And this is what I'm showing on the coin. Is the coin is showing you the actual explosion. It could have been nuclear, that type of explosion that would cause such a mud flood like that. And you got to think about it. How do we know this much about Egypt? As much as we do about Egypt, but we cannot explain this last paradigm. And literally, our homes are built on the roofs of these buildings. Like our homes isn't built on top of the pyramid. It's built on top of these buildings right here. So that's what made those coins stand out. And the statement that I remember the guy saying, we destroyed the world once and we'll do it again. That sounds very premeditated right there. And that brings me right here to this sketch right here, this drawing, because it speaks just like how those coins were. Those coins were showing a missile or rocket, or you could say even a meteor, if you don't believe it, destroying a city. But what I'm saying is this sketch right here is showing you overall like what happened. So there was a flood event, there was a nuclear event that happened in 1665, and it happened by the presence of what you see in the back, which is those UFOs. This is the reason why I showed that object flying down like that, and then showing you this to show you that in this time period it was said to be airships in the sky. So what this is showing you right here is two different events. The three hands up there are for both events. So both events were flooded. The last paradigm was underneath a mud flood, and it's saying that this same entity was responsible for the Noah flood. And when you see these ships, you can obviously understand that it's technology involved. And some of you might say, well, man, you kind of jumping the gun a little bit. But I want you to look at that name right there. That name right there is Yahweh's name. And, in other places, they might even call it Jehovah. But we're going to look at that name, and we're going to look at those ships, and we'll come back and look at those eyes. But what I'm showing you is what those coins were saying is that there was a destruction that happened that really blew up a lot of stuff, really caused everything to go underwater. And this right here is showing you the event with airships, of an event where something happened where everything went underwater. And I'm saying this picture goes hand in hand with that coin. The only difference is it's showing you two events at the same time. But if you look at the airship and the name, let's just go over. I'm saying this airship right here is what you're seeing right here on the coin. That is what I'm saying right here. This airship right here is that on the coin. And if we zoom in, you can see the name right there, Yahweh, on the airship. So what this is telling you is that whoever this being is, it flies in an airship that possibly cloaks itself inside of a cloud. So we go back. That is what you're seeing right here. It says the Yahweh, these are the ships. So automatically you can tell that these destructions that we're seeing are not biblical, as in an unseen God. Is literally happening with technology, like the Noah flood was possibly literally destruction by machines from above. And this is what's happening at this time. So that name and those ships, 1665, this is happening at that time. And this is the name, and this is what the ships look like over a star fort city. The name Jehovah and Yahweh is two interesting names, but I wanted you to notice that when you see the name like this in the sky with the sunbeam around, it's literally meaning that it's inside of a ship. And this is the name or the being that's inside of the ship. This is symbolism, but ultimately the raw meaning is this right here. It's this name in a ship in a cloud. Whenever you see the name in the sky like that, it is meaning that it's in a ship in a cloud. As time progressed, they begin to cloak all of this right here. Here's another coin. It's above a star fort city. There's the name Yahweh right there. And you can see all of it is above a star fort city. And this is the exact same thing when you see it in the sky with this sun glare above a city. It's in a ship and it's saying the name. And I'm showing you this to get to here. Here is Jehovah with the I. So Jehovah with the I. And if you notice, it's in the cloud of fire. It's in the cloud. And it's the exact same thing. So Yahweh and Jehovah is actually the same person. And it's showing you the name Jehovah in a cloud. And some of you might say Yahweh and Jehovah isn't the same, but you can go online and this is what it'll tell you. Yes, Yahweh and Jehovah are both names for the God of Israel in the Bible. So the Yahweh and the Jehovah are beings or people who fly in an apparatus, who fly in an airship. So Jehovah and Yahweh is the same thing. See this right here? This is Yahweh and Jehovah. They're both the same entity. And it's saying that this Yahweh or Jehovah flies in an airship. It is not a divine being, as in, you know, the Most High itself. This is something pretending to be like the Most High. It needs an airship and it hides itself in a cloud. So I can understand, you know, back in the time of Israel, you know, if they're not seeing this spaceship and they're only seeing the clouds, them assuming that it's the God in a cloud. And I say that because of this right here. It says in the Bible, the God of Israel is described as fighting in a cloud and fire during the exodus of Israel from Egypt. It says in a cloud and fire, fighting in a cloud, fighting in a cloud. This is the name in a cloud with fire. So this is telling you that these entities has always been around since the time of Noah. They are the ones who caused the flood of Noah, and they are the ones who are helping Israel fight. So imagine when Israel went to war and the God went ahead of them, the God that went ahead of them, or the people or being that went ahead of them, was in an airship. This is the reason why they was able to win so many wars. It's because their enemies are riding on horses and their ally is in the air in an airship firing upon them. So I'm saying this ship right here caused this right here. That ship right there fired that right there. Caused that destruction. Boom. Caused it. That's what I'm saying. It made everything look like this. So the same God that destroyed the 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 world during the time of Noah is the same entity, the same beings using airships to destroy our last paradigm. And if you go Bible wise, it's saying that this entity or being was helping Israel defeat all of its enemies. So we go on to this next one. That's what this comes into play right here. This is Israel's God, but it shows it flooding the world and it shows it destroying the world once again in 1665. So when I hear a man say we destroyed the world once and we'll do it again, you know, the once was like, okay, Noah, and then you turned around and you did it again, you know, this makes you wonder. But all of this comes down to this one piece: how you believe this whole situation. You know, it says on the coin Biblia, so biblical, Bible. You see what I'm saying? That circle up there, that is their airship. That is their symbol and their airship. And their story about their conquering is inside of the Bible, written as if it was something in a cloud helping man, when truly that which is supposedly helping Israel is in a spaceship. It's kind of like cheating a little bit. But let's go a little further. So that the Bible right there, your Bible is infected with beings in an airship. If you are praising the God in the Bible, you are praising beings that need an airship to get around. That means that they die. And I'm saying that right here because as I was doing my study, I realized that the word Yahweh and Jehovah can be just like the word Caesar. Like anybody can assume that title if it's given to you. I believe it's a title. I don't think it's a god that anybody is praising. I mean, we're taught that, but I think it's a title no different than Caesar and it can be obtained. But let's look at this coin right here. This is an example of something that is not spiritual being made to look spiritual. So we have the whole clouds again. We have the light, we have the triangle, we have the eyes. Now, I'm saying that anytime that you see the cloud in the sky, that's a ship that can cloak itself. The bright light is the fire that comes from the ship. The triangle is the being in there, that's their eye. And I'll say it like this. You notice you see it is above a star fort too, commonly. So this entity that was destroying the world during the time of Noah and helping Israel defeat its enemies, which might not be a good thing. I don't know. A part three is definitely necessary with this video. But let's look at this other picture. It's a little grainy, but what it shows is a man in a cloud and he has a triangle around his head and he has a device in his hand. Is this the Yahweh? Because it's in a cloud. If we go back, that's what you're looking at. There's a triangle, there's the cloud, the eye is on the man's face. There's the cloud, there's a triangle around his head, the eye is on his face. So he is watching and he is dropping bombs. And it goes back to that very first picture you saw, the very first picture where it's blowing up something and the boats are watching. Well, how do you know this isn't what you're seeing right here? So this image right here is no more than saying that there is a being or people in an airship and they are the watchers. And I believe, honestly, the world is under threat because they've shown that they're willing to attack and use man to help them. So definitely the part three of this is going to be interesting to learn who allied with these beings outside of just Israel itself. You know, this is pretty deep, but ultimately that man is in this ship and there's his name, Yahweh or Jehovah, or if it's a name like Caesar and it's multiple people. But nevertheless, if you go back, the man is in a cloud. There's a triangle. The cloud means he's in a ship. Here is the ship. It makes the cloud. There is the man's name. You go back here. There is the triangle. There is the cloud. There's the eye. That is what this man is showing on him. The triangle, his face is the eye because he's looking with downward and the clouds. You got to put these puzzle pieces together. This one right here, he's above a star fort city. He's in a cloud. Is this the Yahweh? Is this the Jehovah? If you notice, he's holding a book and he's holding a sword and he's above a star fort. So no matter what, I am showing you that the coins are saying that this Yahweh or Jehovah or whoever he is was here during the 1500s and caused the mud flood. It was destroying the last paradigm. That's the reason why I can show you the buildings where we're on top, on the roof of the building itself. Here's another more clear. Is this the Yahweh? Is this the Jehovah? This man, you see him holding the book and a sword, but I would say this, he looks different than the last guy. The two don't look the same. And this is the reason why I was saying I wondered, was the word Jehovah a word like Caesar? Was the word Yahweh like Caesar? Because there are many people who can be Caesar. Like you have a real name and then you've been given the title Yahweh or given a title Jehovah right there. So you see, he's in a cloud. And this would tell you this man right here is fighting with his book of truth or whatever it is inside of a spaceship. Anytime you see him in a cloud above a city, yes, he's in a spaceship. And this one right here is very telling, because he looks currently like the priest of today that's in the Vatican. And if you notice, he's inside of a cloud. But the difference is he has a book in his hand, but he doesn't have a sword. He has like a reef or something, and that's connected to his staff. But he has the bright light, just like that triangle coin. This is a man. He's in a ship. That's what this is right here. You see, he has a sword in the book. He doesn't have a sword. So if I was to tell you what I thought about this, I felt like these two guys during their time period or whatever wage war. And when they won the war, meaning obviously we lost, that's what we see today is the priests, because they're here to usher in the peace after they have caused the war. That's what I feel like I'm looking at right here. Like this priest right here, it's saying he's in an airship, he's in the cloud. But what I'm saying is this order right here, it's not godly. It's not godly at all. This is a order of other beings who fly ships, who seem to put their law together inside of the Bible. And it seems like they warred and destroyed us for a while. And before they had this moment right here, like right now, the whole world believes in this priest right here. I mean, there's many versions of him in the church right now inside of the Vatican. He even has the fish hat on. So he's in the cloud. He's no different than this man and this man. He's in this ship right here. And I'm not saying that the Pope is there now, but I'm saying it seems like they're all rooted out of this name and rooted out of technology. They all come from this. This triangle right here, it's no different than looking at this man right here. This man is actually, it's no different right here. So that's something to just take into mind. But I do think that these are three different men, and it seems like the two who have the sword seem to be the ones who was causing the destruction. And then, like I said, after we're defeated, the peace is ushered in. But your great buildings are now underwater, and now we are rebuilding. And this era is literally missing. We're missing this era right here. This is supposed to be Nuremberg, Germany, right here. It is not in no history books. We are missing this. That is Yahweh name right there. That is Jehovah's name. And it's in a ship. And quite possibly this entity has been helping to help Noah during the flood, but I'm saying this entity caused the flood. And I think this entity caused the mud flood that we're currently in. And the question becomes, is this an entity for good? Is it there to do good? Because we've been taught that it's here to do good. But I'm saying maybe you need to look at Israel right now, and some would say, well, that was thousands of years ago. So in part three, I'm going to take the images that we have here, and then we're going to go to the Bible with it, and we're going to compare the two. because you get a different visual when you read the scriptures and it talks about the God going ahead of Israel and destroying their enemies inside of a cloud. And then you're looking at this coin and it has that God's name in there inside of a ship. This is in the 1600s. To me, in the 1600s, you shouldn't have the philosophy in your mind of airships being able to fly, let alone cloak itself. So that means that we're out of tune with the past. It's not that the past is it's great. We're out of tune because we think everything is thousands of years ago, and it's not. Just one more time, I think that these two guys went to war, and I believe he's ushering it in. But no matter what, I just want to go back to right here because I thought that was crazy. Jehovah is in the cloud with the fire. And you see, it says in the Bible, the God of Israel is described as fighting in a cloud. So I'm going to let that stand right there. I probably do a part 3 to this. It'll get more biblical, along with the coins. So then you can have a full visual of this to determine whether if this God was of peace or was it war? Who was it fighting with? Was it fighting on our behalf? These things, we have to find out. So until the next time, you know, um, drop a like and subscribe. Definitely go check out my TikTok and we'll get on to it, family. Thank you for watching.